Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty.
Folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, with your host, Hurricane H here. And I have a fellow host of another show with me today, and we're going to do some motivation, folks. That's exactly what we're going to be doing today. And now, I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I mean, our guest today does a lot, and business-wise, motivation-wise. He's also working on a book, and we'll talk about that shortly. And he does this, he has his own thing. He's also a representative of a Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to talk about that. And so he's busy. He's doing a lot of things, and he has a lot to offer. And so audiences, to get ready. It's going to get, real bumpy here with a lot of good stuff with our guest, John C. Morley. And he is, in Jersey. So, we were talking about the weather and the weather was a little bit, off, and so we were just talking and reminiscing about different things. And then we talked about our name, Hurricane H here. So it just kind of coincided with the weather business. But John, welcome to the show.
Well, it is a privilege, a pleasure, and honor to be here, HH.
You see, that's what we were talking about just before actually we started the show. So we're talking about the HH, double H, and all the good stuff. But John,
I'll call you H squared. How about that? H squared.
H square works. he might just get a trend, and it gets viral. Eventually, everybody's like, "Hey, what's up, H square?"
Yeah.
Why not? Listen, it's all good. To be honest, call me whatever you want. It's all good.
Don't call me late for dinner. Don't call me late for dinner.
That's right. Boy. Well, first of all, John, I mean, you are a lot. You are a wealth of knowledge, of expertise. You do a lot. You've done a lot. And we're talking about the book shortly, but also the activities you do, the entrepreneurship, the business stuff, the motivation, the inspiration. I mean, and you and I, when we connected, that's the first thing that was like, oh, we have to do this. Our mission is really to educate and enlighten people, but also motivate and inspire. And I think that's all ties in one big title, right? Or big mission. And,
yes.
I don't think there's enough motivation we can do out there. I'm actually a big fan of it. I live by it. I do it on a day-to-day basis. As a matter of fact, every day almost I post things on social media that are just motivational, inspirational, getting people pumped. And frankly, I do it for me first. I mean, I'm the first customer because it keeps me going, and that's important. And I know you do this as well, and you help people. You've guided people to do this. So let's talk about you. It's enough about me because it's all about you today. So John, let's talk about your story, your real rich history and story as a whole, beginning to now.
Okay, your story was very interesting too. My life started when I was born, but we won't go that far back. We don't have that much time. When I was in college, we'll just kind of go from that point because there's a lot before that. But when I was in college, I knew that I probably wanted to work for myself, but I wasn't really sure of how or when or why or how. And so I remember my dad. I wrote a program for their dry cleaning plant, a touch screen application for their dry cleaning business, my mom's business. And they opened that when I was in second grade. And they only sold that when it was about 2004. So not too long ago from now. And so my dad called me, was in between classes. He's like, John, we have a problem. I said, what's the matter now? He says, I don't know. He says, the computer won't start. Did you plug it in? Did you turn it on? No, it's the server. I said, the server, what happened with that? I said, maybe somebody hit the button, like vacuuming or something. No. We tested it. We looked at that post thing you said, post what? Power on self-test? Yeah, that thing where the orange screen comes up. Okay. Yeah, well, the screen's just stopped. What do you mean it stopped? Well, I don't know. It's just kind of stopped. Well, what's on it? Oh, there's a cursor and it's just flashing. Okay, sounds like you might have a problem, like the battery might be bad. Oh, okay. Oh, how do we change that? Well, you don't know how to change that. Why don't we get you to go to this store, and it'll cost you $150, probably $25, maybe for the battery. And the rest they'll rip you off for changing the battery. And so he goes to the store. They charge him $75. They put on a credit card. I'm at school, meanwhile. I come home every weekend to help the business. And he calls me back a day later. He says they need to investigate. They need to analyze. Okay, fine. It's a scam, if you ask me. So Wednesday he goes back. He says, John, he says, I just met with the store. I said, well, what happened? I said, they fix it? No. I said, how much is it going to be? They didn't estimate, right? 18. $18? No, 1,800.
Oof.
1,800. How did we get from 150 to $1,800? That's what I want to know. So, you know what? Just hold off, time out. Don't do anything. Just leave everything alone. I'll be home on Friday and just let's let it sit. I come home Friday, I go to the store, and I tell them, look, I'm not a computer guy. I'm not smart with that kind of technology. I'm actually going to school for business and for hospitality. I want to be a restaurant manager. And he goes, oh, that's cool. So my brother wants to do that too. I said, yeah, so I just about know how to turn this thing on. But listen, my friend's very intelligent. And he gave me this little, I don't know, this little silver thingy-majiggy thing. He said, I don't know if it's true, we probably can change this thing on there. Guys look at me and says, okay, I guess I got to get a screwdriver. I said, I think so. I don't know. Get a screwdriver. I said, I probably would unplug it. That's just my guess. I don't know too much, but I would unplug it probably before we work on it. Good idea, man. Good idea. Unplugs it, takes a screwdriver, goes, where do you think it goes? I said, I don't know. I guess we're going to play like a game. We're just going to kind of look and see where we can find. Well, there's a circle over there. What if it fits there? Yeah, you're right. It might fit there. How do you think we take that one out? I don't know. I guess I would use some kind of a clip or a screwdriver to kind of pry it out. He says, good idea. Yeah, it comes out. I think this one goes back in there. How does it go back in? I don't know, but I probably would take it out. So we took it out and put the one back in the same way we took it out. He said, that's just good. You're smart. Puts it back in. I said, we should test it out. And I said, no, we probably should put the case back on before we plug it in. Said, good idea. So we put the case back on, plug it in. He goes, turn it back on. Thing. So I see it's not working. I said, no, wait. This computer was so slow. It used to take a minute before it would get started. Oh, okay. Oh, there it comes. I see it start to come up. Oh, look, Windows is starting to load. And he says to me, I got to get a manager. He says, hold on. Manager comes back. He said, see, it's all fixed. $1,800. I said, $1,800? You didn't do anything. Oh, yeah, we changed the battery. Right, we changed the battery. No, but that wasn't the problem. It was the motherboard. No, it wasn't the motherboard. I said, now, let me be honest with you. I'm not going to school for restaurant management or for business management. I'm actually going to school to become an engineer. And I actually built this computer several years ago and wrote the software on it. Oh. So let me ask you a question. What are the last four digits of the serial number? R, J, yeah, K, 3, go ahead, 7, T, L? Yeah, how'd you do that? You a magician? I'm not a magician. You people are a bunch of liars. See, that's a picture of the serial number off the motherboard that I built 3 years ago. Oh, hold on a minute. Guess he's somebody else. I said, so here's what's going to happen. All right. You're going to give my father back the $75 that you stole from him. And you're not going to charge us a penny for anything you did because you people are a bunch of liars and you're crooks. Or I'm going to very politely call Fox 5, News 4, ABC, News 12, Better Business Bureau, and the list will go on. And I'll make sure they're exposed so they know the true liars that you people are. And let me give you a tip. If you keep acting and treating clients like this, you'll be out of business in less than a year. You know what happened in 6 months? CompUSA went out of business. So now I learned that I had some skills. And when I graduated, my dad said, do you want to start your own company? You could take off for a month and I'll give you some money. Or you could take off for a week. I'll give you a lot less money and you can go find a job. I took option 2. Got a whole month off, got a lot more money. But then I had the challenge of starting my own company. Well, before all that happened, in my senior year, I was the vice president, the one that handled the money for student association, student council. So I'm the guy that you want to know. Even if you didn't like me, you want to be friends with me because I'm the one that controlled your budget for your account, for your student government. And if you had an organization and you needed money for whatever it was, anything, beer, party, but whatever it is, I made the decision of whether you were going to get that money or not. Because at the end of the year, the money rolled back. And so if you ran out of money, you had to come back and ask me for money. And I had to see if it was going to make sense. Well, they told me that I was to cut a check for this entertainer for 2 checks for $20,000 a piece. So that's $40,000 last time I went to school. And I said to myself, who is this guy? Oh, don't worry. It's all approved. You don't need to prove anything. All you need to do is just sign the checks. It's all approved already. All right. Why are we paying him $40,000? Well, 20 at the beginning, 20 at the end. So I wanted to look up who this Joe was. I went online, did some research on him. I said, oh, I know what this guy does. Oh, he's not doing this on my watch. He was a stage hypnotist. I said, this isn't happening on my watch. So I met the gentleman, shook his hand. I said, I've done some research on you. I know who you are. And I know what you do. I know how you embarrass people. And let me be very clear. You're not going to bring me on stage. You're not going to bring any of my staff or administration on stage or embarrass any of us. Or you see this check? It's not going to cash. It'll bounce so high, you won't even be able to see where it went. And you know the second check that I'm supposed to give you at the end of the show? You're not going to get that. And if you don't care about the money, I will make sure that every single school, and we're all part of a network, knows what happened here. And by Monday, you won't have a tour of schools to go on. Am I clear, sir? Perfectly. Great. Well, I guess you better get started. The show's supposed to start soon. We go take our seats. He embarrasses these people on the stage with this lemon. The show ends. Shake his hand. I said, sure. That was a great show. Very professional. I said, I'm going to recommend you to the rest of our board for more entertainment. Then I decided to buy a book from him and learn from him what he did. I got inspired to get certified in hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. When I got out of school, I had a Cherokee white limited Jeep, which I liked a lot. But I wanted to get something more luxurious. That time I wanted a car. I wanted an MDX Acura. But it was way out of my budget. So I took a picture of the Acura. I went to the dealership after I graduated. I sat in the car. I smelled the car. I felt the car. I drove the car. I heard the navigation. I breathed every moment of having that car. I put it on my screensaver. I put it on my screen. And every night when I got home, I closed my eyes and I put my foot on the gas pedal in my imaginary gas pedal in my living room. And then I pressed the remote start button and I heard the engine purr. And I would take about a 10 or 15 minute drive. And 6 months later, that car showed up in my driveway. So that's what got me on the verge of wanting to do motivation, like just knowing, just for myself, not for anybody else at the time. I wanted to be the best manifester I could because I was tired of paying people to help me get deprogrammed. I said, this is crazy. Why can't I do this myself? I'm only an engineer. The brain can't be that hard. So I decided to become a lifelong student of the brain. I went back, got my bachelor's in education. And then what happened is I realized, well, many years ago, but when just before I was ready to graduate, I hired one of the largest marketing and advertising firms. Unfortunately, they're still in business in Manhattan today. And they rip people off left and right. They don't even know what they're doing. They just can't take the money fast enough from you. About 10, 11 years ago, I said, enough's enough. I said, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I letting people put words in my mouth? Why am I letting people believe that I can't do something? I'm never going to make any money. I'm never going to be able to market. I'm never going to be able to advertise. And so I decided to call Xerox, who was a client, who we were a client of, and they had me come in. I said, how do I become a mom and pop print shop? They said, it's real simple, 150. I said, I'll give you the 150 bucks right now. No, sir. He said, 150,000. I said, oh. So after I fell in love with the machine and all the stuff, and I took her to breakfast and lunch, I went to my bank. I asked my bank for the loan. Usually your bank says no. You're supposed to say no. My bank said yes. I said, now what am I going to do? My bank said yes. I thought they're supposed to say no. So they said yes. They said, when do you want the money? I said, I haven't thought about when. You could have it tomorrow. Oh, I don't know if I want it that soon. So I said, I'll take it next week. And I took $150,000. But then I went back to Xerox and I said, guys, I got some good news and I got some bad news. Here's the good news. I got approved for a loan. Oh, that's great. The bad news is because of my credit, didn't quite get enough money. And I am so embarrassed that I have to tell you this. I only got 130,000. Whatever I owe you for the dinner or for the lunch, let me know and I'll be happy to pay you because I feel so terrible that, I didn't get approved for the full amount. I knew what I was doing. He goes, that's terrible. You want coffee? You want donut? You want a bagel? I don't want anything. Hang on, just sit there a minute. I said, why? Just sit there a minute. Goes into the manager's office, comes back out, all smiling. I said, well, you're awfully happy. He said, yeah, it's just a great day. I said, I'm $20,000 short. How is it a great day for you? You're in luck, Mr. Morley. How am I in luck? Well, today, the manufacturer introduced a rebate of $20,000 from today till next Friday for any production machine, this one or higher, and 40 hours of free training and tax all included. I said, so 130,000 is enough? He says, you're in, not a penny more. Wow. I get the machine, I get trained. I walk into the marketing people's office at 7:30 in the morning in Manhattan, knocked on the door. Good morning, Greg. How are you? I'm good, John. Listen, we had a great run. Thank you so much, and we're done. What's that? John, I didn't get my coffee yet. Can you just hang on a minute? I got to get my coffee. I'm not even awake yet. Gets his coffee, comes back. What'd you say again? I said, thank you. We had a great run, and we're done. I'm still not quite awake yet. Let me see if Chris is available. He can come in, your sales manager. Let's see if Brian can come in, the assistant. He comes in. And they come in here. They ask you, yes, they come in. John, you want bagels? You want donuts? You want coffee? I don't want anything. I said, we had a great run. Thank you so much, and we're done. Oh, okay, we're done with the project. We're moving on to something else. So we're done. Well, listen, John, I want to share something with you. We spent all night, myself, the team, Carrie, Brendan, over 30 of us spent all night. We didn't sleep a wink because we have a multi-billion-dollar idea for your ad campaign, for your tech company. So that's great. You want to hear about it? No. We spent all night. We didn't go to bed. And we're like so happy to show this to you. Interested. I said, we had a great run. Thank you. And we're done. Or shall I say, thank you. We had a great run and we're done. He said, what are you saying? I said, maybe I need to be a little more blunt because you guys aren't getting the message. I just fired your boss. I'm firing you. I'm firing Carrie. I'm firing Brian. I'm firing the whole team. I'm firing the whole company. Goes back and goes, bro, that's below the belt. He says, we go back since you were a junior in college. I know, when you're robbing money from my father and from me. Well, it takes time. How many years does it take? Well, it takes a while. How long's a while? Oh, John, it could take years. So you just expect me to just dump money into your company until you get it? Well, no, it's not like that, bro. I mean, like we're like buds. I mean, we know you so well. We're like family. Yeah, family doesn't screw each other. And I said, no one takes people out to breakfast, lunch, or dinner based on the deposit they gave me. Maybe you remember the conversation we had when you get $100 from me, and I just use the amounts to make up for right now. You take me to a diner. When I send you 200, you take me out to a nice Bennigan's. When I send you 300, you take me to Ruth Chris. And how is it when I sent you 100 that I told you I was sending it to you, and I sent you 300, that your secretary calls me and tells me that you can't meet me for breakfast because Katie and Brian were married. They had twins. They're both teething. Katie had a fender bender the week before, and Brian had the only car, so he couldn't make the 8 o'clock appointment. Couldn't do lunch because your boss was magically flying in, so you put me in at nighttime. And then when I changed it around, you saying, so I just don't have time for these games. And they want to give me a discount. I said, we're done with discounts. You should have done that years ago. Well, where are you going to go? You don't know the first thing about marketing advertising. Well, you're right. I said, but I'm going to hire somebody else. Oh, don't hire that guy across the street. He's an idiot. Phil? Oh, he's terrible. He just lies through his teeth. We're not using Phil. Well, Donnie up the road. Oh, he is an operator. Let me tell you about Donnie. He's on his third Mercedes-Benz. And I heard that Mercedes-Benz is coming from the very first client he got. And he hasn't even gotten them an ROI yet. Not using him. Oh, don't use Raphael across the bridge from us in Hoboken. Don't use him. I'm not using Raphael. Well, who are you using? Because they're the biggest guys around. I'm using a little tiny company in New Jersey. Oh, bro, you don't want to do that. I mean, you don't want to throw your company away to some fly by night. He said, who are these people? They're probably not going to make it very long. He said, it's a low company. They're in a town called Franklin Lakes. He said, that's the same town as you. I said, yes, it is. They're right across the street from me. Oh, I don't remember a company across the street. Well, there's a new building that they built. Oh, well, who are they? Neighborhood Publications and Productions. Yeah, they're fly by night. I give them a year, they'll be out of business. I said, I don't know. I said, they seem pretty good. Well, who's the manager over there? So I give him a name. I said, oh, okay. He's like, I have to reach out to them sometime. He goes, who's the owner? So I take my finger in my hands and I go like, John Morley. Who's the owner? John Morley. Can you say that without your hand? I said, sure, John Morley. You're the owner? No way. Man, I got to tell you, I really admire you, but I got to tell you, dude, that's a stupid move. You're so smart, but this is so stupid. You don't know what you're doing. You're playing with the sharks, buddy. You're going to get eaten alive. We've been doing this for years. I know, I'm conning people at the same time. So I walk out. They come to me. We fail for 2 years. 2 years, he comes to me, knocks on my door, calls me up. He says, hey, John, it's Brian. Listen, Sarah and we want to take you out to lunch. I said, why do you want to take me out to lunch? Well, we heard you're growing, and we want to see if we can help you because, you're really not a corporate guy. Like when it comes to advertising, you don't know what you're doing, with all due respect. So we want to kind of shelter you and help you a little bit. So we want to, take some of those clients away, help you with them, and you can keep that great name you have. I said, you know what, Brian? Why would I do that? I spent all this time putting my blood, sweat, and tears into these clients, and you're going to destroy their reputation, the fractures. No, that's not what we do. I said, I got a better idea. Why don't we take some of those clients that haven't left you, that are still in denial, and it's not the river in Egypt, and actually figure out a game plan for them so they can get an ROI, see a profit, and actually continue to grow their business. How's that for a concept? Oh, we'll let you leave your name on it and we'll do the work. Oh, John, that's above my pay grade. I understand. Then I don't think you're in a position to even be able to take me out to lunch if you can't make that kind of a decision. When you can, give me a call. I'd love to go to lunch. He never called me again. So I built a full print production, graphic media, digital design company. So as you know, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an engineer. I'm a marketing specialist. I'm a national talk show host. I'm also a first responder. But I built this company because nobody else, was helping me. Nobody. And I started to realize that I needed to do what's needed to grow my business, but not from a dollars and cents perspective. You see, most businesses, when they start out, they're business owners. We all are. But they never graduate. So what do you mean graduate? Well, most businesses make some money, or they don't make money, or they go out of business, or they barely hold their shirt, or they pay their employees, but they can't pay themselves jack. Until you become passionate about your business. And then you become an entrepreneur. You do what's going to bring you passion and fun. Don't worry about what's going to make money, because when you have fun at something and you feel a need, you're going to bring the money in. As Ruth said, when you build it, they will come. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but they're going to come. But the plane might be a little delayed. So, and remember the movie Field of Dreams. I remember that movie and a lot of others. And that's when I realized that I needed to be passionate in JMore Connection, my tech company. But how could I be passionate when I didn't have anything that could help you with marketing, with advertising, when they kept telling me, John, you're never going to get anywhere, we're never going to do this. I said, I need to stop being the problem and becoming part of the solution, i.e., I started the other company and I became a serial entrepreneur. Now, I'm not wanted in any states for anything bad. I'm actually friends with many of the cops. But a serial entrepreneur just means that he or she sees a problem in their business and usually starts another business that solves the problem of that business. Not always, but usually that's why they do it. So there could be a connecting point. And so I started realizing my purpose several years ago. I'm only here for one reason, even though I do all these great things. I'm here to become a better version of myself every day, and I'm here to help other people become better versions of themselves. That's why I'm here. And so whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a marketing specialist, but a lot of people out there believe that if they go to somebody that has a big name, they're going to get value. They're not. They're going to get ripped off is what they're going to get. And so the reason these companies were successful is because their management teams were good at what they were doing, but they don't do the work anymore. The interns do it. And usually they get fired every year or two because when they don't make the accounts, they just get thrown off the payroll and they bring somebody else in. So what I do is I have two national talk shows. I have J More Tech Talk, which is a weekly tech show every Friday night at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I interview celebrities, guests, business owners from all around the world. I interviewed Mr. Martin Cooper, who was the first man to ever talk on a cell phone, and he actually was the man who designed the first cell phone. Cell phones that were like this big.
Remember those?
Well, yes, those were expensive phones. I remember the cell phone I had in college. It was $6,000. Some of those big packs from Mitsubishi. Remember the NEC and the Mitsubishi phones? I think mine was a Mitsubishi. I remember those. And I remember too, when you lock the phone, if you ever lock the phone, you forget your code, you'd be cursing people out because you can't use your phone. And sometimes if you hit lock accidentally and you didn't remember what the code was, well, then now you can't even do anything except answer calls. You can't make calls. And so what I started realizing is that passion comes from your heart. Now, most people want to manifest things in their life. I get it, right? And people say, well, John, just talk, have good words. It's true that if you change your words, you change your thoughts, you change your mind, you will, in fact, improve the quality of your life. But if your mind is not on board with your heart, that means if they're not connected, okay? Now, what does that mean? It means that when you want to manifest something, you can think about it, but you got to feel it in your heart. You got to breathe it. You got to experience it. What I do with that car. So people that feel things cause those endorphins and chemicals and receptors to activate in their bodies. And your body doesn't know the difference whether you're actually doing it for real or whether it's practice. Remember from the many good basketball players many years ago, they had 3 sets of kids. One set didn't practice at all. One set practiced every day, and the third set practiced every day, but in a study room with their minds. And they were just as active, if not more successful than the people that practice every day, because the same neurons were firing. Where they say neurons that wire together, fire together. So if you ever notice you do something, you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. It's because you conditioned yourself. So how do you bring success about? Well, you have to feel it first, and then you manifest it second. So one thing is that not everybody in life is going to be at their peak moment every single second. It's impossible. So how do you stay at a peak moment when there's this evolution of change permeating our lives through all kinds of different dichotomies, from challenges, experiences, emergencies, what have you, dramas, right? How do you persist with all that going on in your life? Well, first thing I tell people is, if I'm hanging around a buddy and that buddy's name, I'm like, hey, Joe, what's wrong? What's the matter? Oh, I had a hard day. Well, maybe we should reschedule. Maybe we should do this another time. No, okay. So you reschedule, you come back. He's still got that same crappy attitude. Joe, what's going on? Oh, I just saw it. Well, why don't we do something to make it? No, I don't want to feel better. You know, Joe, I used to like hanging around with you, buddy, but I really don't have any interest to be with you anymore. What's wrong? you're no fun anymore and you're just negative. And frankly, I don't want to hang around negative people because you know what they say? You become what you hang around. No, yeah. So they're either going to change their ways or they're going to go away. Usually they change their ways because they don't want to lose you. But the other people will just go away and you'll be out of their life and they'll be out of yours and you'll move on. So that's first thing. You want to stay in positive energy. So you want to be positive all the time because that blanket between about 2 feet to 7 feet, people can feel your energy. A little hard on a podcast, but you still get the idea. People can
I'm
feel your
getting it right now.
energy. You can feel it. But when you're in real life, you can even feel it more, not just the way we feel it from this. Your body can feel it even more because you're actually affecting the receptors. Right now, we're affecting the eyes, we're affecting the ears, but it's even more intense.
Yes.
And if you're negative, well, that also happens. So the good thing is if you're negative, negative energy is not as strong as positive energy, but it's still affecting. So positive energy is about 2 to 4 times more than negative energy. But if you have no energy and you have negative energy, well, that's going to cause somebody to be negative. So the other thing is, how do you stay positive, or how do you stay in a state when you had a problem? Like, I bet some people on the show, I don't know, maybe they want to attract abundance. Now, it's not the money that you want. This is the most important thing. You think you want the money, and I get it, but that's not the most important thing. The money is there so you can get what you want. So let's do a little experiment. You can close your eyes, you can keep them open, I don't care. Take your thumb and your hand, okay? This is your non-dominant hand, and this is your dominant hand. Take your thumb and your index finger and just pinch lightly on the crease of this hand, your non-dominant, and just hold that. You can just hold it relaxed. But I want you to think right now of imagining yourself getting $1 million, whether you have an iPhone, whatever it is, or whether it's your bank account. Just see that bank account, just see it growing. And if you want to be safe with taxes, what the hell? Let's say you got $1.5 million. This way you got plenty of money. So you got $1 million clear after you pay your taxes. So you really have a true million. And so now, how do you feel that you got that $1 million? Where would you be sitting right now if you had that $1 million? Who would you be talking to if you had that $1 million right now? And how would you be breathing right now if you had $1 million? What would you be wearing right now if you had $1 million? Keep that held. And now I want you to think of something else. I want you to go to a store. Could be electronics store, could be clothes, whatever you want. And I want you to think about what you want to buy. Anything you want. Take one of this, one of that. See yourself getting it. How do you feel as you put that in your cart, or as the salesperson's helping you get that and putting that on your order? How does that make you feel? Remember, there's no price tag. You get anything you want. Oh, you know what? Give me a dozen of those. Give me 4 of those. How do you feel? Maybe you need that Rolex watch, or what else do you want? Well, maybe you want to go and buy something nice for your girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other. What do you want to buy him or her? Is it a necklace? Is it a car? Is it a trip? Is it a diamond ring? What is it? And how do you feel when you bought that? Now, how do you feel when you're in front of that person and you're gifting it to them? How does that make you feel? How confident do you feel right now that you've done that? Now, let's go to that dealership. You want to go buy that Tesla, you want to go buy that Alfa Romeo? You're in the showroom and you got that kid that's a little younger than you. And you know how they've always treated you before, because they always want to spend the time with the people that have the money. But this time, they're not interested in spending their time with anybody else. They want to spend it with you because they know that you could have any option, any price tag. There's no budget. Everyone else seems to not matter anymore to them. You're the center of their attention. And while you're at it, you decide to take a second one in blue because you want one for the weekend. Got your white car for the weekday, got your blue one for the weekend. And while you're at it, you tell them to throw some extra paint. But it's no problem. It's only going to be another $80,000 for that custom paint color. Oh, that's all? Can we get you monogrammed towels? Sure, they're only $60,000. Oh, okay. Do you want monogram keychain? Another $5,000. And you just feel good that you're spending this money. Now what I want you to do is imagine yourself on the day of delivery. You're going back for the car. You're sitting in that car that you've been wanting. It's yours. You have it. You're driving it. You can feel it. And notice how you're looking in that car and how other people, like, their eyeballs are popping out of their head because they can't believe you're driving this car. And the nice thing is now you want to buy something for your family. What do you want to buy for them? Do you want to buy them a vacation? Do you want to buy them something for their home? Do you want to buy them a car? Do you want to buy them a subscription to a winery? Do you want to give them their own winery in their house? What do you want to do for them? And now what I want you to think about is, now that you've got all the money you ever could want, what else do you want in your life? You have all the money you want. You have all the freedom. You have all the health. What else do you want? Well, now it's time to start helping some other people. And you want to give some of that money away, not because you have to, but because you want to. You want to express gratitude. And you're not interested in letting anybody know you gave it only for the purposes of a tax deduction. You don't want people to know that you gave it. And I want you to think about right now how high you're feeling. And when you can't feel any higher with how your emotions are and how confident you are and how secure you are with all the money you need, I want you to let go of that thumb and index finger. And as you do, I want you to take a second. I want you to take the thumb and index finger. I want you to put it back and notice those feelings return. Take it away, go back. Now, if it didn't happen for you, it might take 5 or 6 times to do this, but do this every couple hours, and this will anchor you into a peak state. You can do this for positivity. You can do this for abundance. You can do it forever you want. Henry Ford said it best. If you believe you can't do something, you're right. And if you believe you can, you're also right. So that means, just what my hat says, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Also comes from a great phrase. Claude Bristol Myers said something many years ago in his book, that if you believe it, it's called the magic of believing. One day he was on a cruise ship, and he was just an aspiring writer. He was nobody at the time. He wasn't well known, and he was there, and he said he wanted to sit at the captain's table. But who was he? He was nobody. He wanted to sit at the captain's table. And he made a decision when he got on that boat. Yes, I'm going to sit at that captain's table. I'm worthy. I'm going to get to that captain's table. I don't know how, but I'm going to be at that captain's table. Well, one night on the cruise, he went to the prominent dining room and he asked for a reservation. He says, I'm sorry, we're totally booked. We only have one seat left. He said, well, that's okay. I'll take it. It's way in the front. Is that okay? He says, I don't care as long as it's a seat. Okay, well, we can take you there now. The waitress, hostess takes him to the table, sitting down, very vast, big table in the front of the ship's dining room. He's sitting, he's like, wow, this is a pretty amazing table. They only have one spot left. And within a few seconds, the captain comes nearby. And he comes by. He goes, Claude, he says, it is a privilege to have you sitting at my table this evening. He says, I've wanted you sitting at my table from the moment you boarded my boat. And it is an honor to hear so much about what you've done in your new book that I am looking so forward to having you as my guest tonight. So we don't necessarily know how something's going to happen, but if we make a decision that something's going to happen, it's going to happen. We just have to be open to how it gets delivered. And if you don't get something in your life today, you might get it later, or you might get something just better than what you asked for.
Well, how do I follow all this, man? I've had 40 minutes literally of just intake right now, just absorbing the stuff. I mean, I'm going to call this like the achieve and believe, or believe and achieve wisdom of John. Probably that's going to be the title. So I'll play with that one. But literally, I mean, I was just, every time you go from one to the other, I'm like, wow, it just like, it keeps me going. And believe it or not, I do believe in every single concept that you've mentioned right now.
Thank you.
And as a matter of fact, if you go to some shows and, prior shows, I do cover a lot of that stuff, and with some guests. And I live with that concept personally, and I engage with that. Right now you're talking, I had goosebumps literally because I feel it. And I understand exactly the concept. Plus, I have to say, your story, I mean, from the beginning, you always had that drive, the fact that, you know what, you pursue things, you make it happen, you do what it takes, and you believe in yourself. And that's the That's the biggest part. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, there's nothing else. No one can believe in you more than you.
You have to believe yourself. Nobody can make you believe yourself.
Exactly.
And if everybody in life, HH, tells you that you're great and you don't have a few people on the fence about you, you should be worried. And I'll tell you why. I had a gentleman who was in office, a political person, and I run this charity. And he says, John, when are you going to give up? When are you going to give up with all this nonsense? Like, when are you just stop all this foolery? He invites me to his office. He says, by the way, you know that little campaign you worked on to help us grow the town? I said, yeah, it's great. It is great. We're launching it, and you're not. And nor is your organization. So I said, well, those are two blows below the belt. I'm saying to myself. He said, when are you going to just give up and just realize, you're done? So I sit there and I close my eyes, HH. He goes, what are you doing? I said, sir, I do not want to lie to you. I want to give you the exact year, exact month, exact day, hour, and second that I'm officially going to give up. I think I almost got it. Oh, okay, take your time. I got it, sir. I'm going to give up. He's like, yeah. When a little baby boy or a little baby girl, looking at me funny, tells their parents they don't want to walk anymore. So they'd be like, when the H is that? I said, well, you're a parent, I think, right? He says, yes. And you have two children, a boy and a girl. And I think they're both through college right now. Yes. Good. And they both learn to walk, correct? Yes. When did either of them ever tell you they don't want to learn to walk anymore? He's making all kinds of funny faces for at least 2 or 3 minutes. Comes back and he says, never. I said, sir, that's exactly my answer. And I knew the moment I met you 5 years ago that you were a bright and intelligent man. And that the day I asked you that question, you would give the correct answer the exact first time. He goes, John. I said, yes, sir. You're arrogant. Now get the H out of my office. I said, sir, it'll be my pleasure. I want to let you know something. I came here with an olive branch to ask for your support. I never needed your help, nor do I ever. So we went our separate ways. And I tell you that, other than, being the political proverbiage of being courteous because of politics, he was a little bit on the fence with me. And I tell you this because if everybody likes you, you're not bringing your A game to the table. And if you don't bring your A game to the table, someone else will, and they'll be the new A game in town. You know what happened just a few days ago? I never wished anything bad on the gentleman. I got an email from this blast that he's part of. And in the email, it said, I want to thank everyone for all the many years. And I didn't even read the rest of it yet. And I said, I know what he's doing. He's stepping down. I start reading. He says, after the many years here, I want to thank. And I said to myself, was I the reason my group is starting to grow? And maybe he's not willing to admit that I'm starting to make a dent. And he wants to go out on top rather than be humiliated because he won't support my mission. So I thought that was very interesting and apropos. The universe does things for certain reasons. It connects you with some people. It removes some people from your life. And I remember one of my very first jobs when I got out of school, it was a part-time job with a government agency, and they treated me terrible. I was a TSC, a far call from an engineer. I was a technical services coordinator, and they paid me a fraction of what I was worth then, not now. There was a lady Gestapo in the office, and she was like checking time, like you're next to born. And I would go to this one school, and it was 20 minutes. Well, one day I came back, it took 24 minutes. She goes up to me, goes, Mr. Morley, where were you? I said, I was at XYZ school. Right, it usually takes you 20 minutes to get back. Where were you? It took you 24 minutes. Well, I don't know, Mary. Let's analyze that, shall we? Great. So I got out of school such and such. I shook hands with a security guard. I waved to the other guard on the way out. I walked to my car. I paid for my ticket. I came up. I'm at the traffic light. She says, that's right. That's only 3 minutes. Well, then I went here. I went there. I went to the traffic. I came back. She says, you still have 5 minutes. I said, okay. Then after that, I went to this traffic light. I came over here. And then I'm getting pretty close. I said, it was 105 degrees that day. I didn't take lunch. And I'm very parched. So I stopped at 7-Eleven to get a bottle of water. Aha! We got you. Aha, what? You're stealing government time and government money. I said, I did take 60 seconds to go get a cold bottle of water because I was really parched. Yeah, don't ever do that again. I said, don't worry, I won't. I said, I signed it early this morning. She said, I know, we don't allow that. She says, we don't allow flex time. You come in at 8 o'clock and you leave at the time. Anyway, so my vetting was coming up. I had 2 weeks left to be vetted for life as a part-time employee there. And I first thought I was going to stay. But then I said to myself, why am I putting up with this nonsense? I waited till the day before Thanksgiving. I was going to be vetted the week after Thanksgiving. The day before Thanksgiving, I go into, it was, whatever her name, Julia's office. I'll say that's not her name. I want to say, Julia, you have a minute for me? She's like, oh, yeah, sure, John. I want to say thank you. She says, oh, you're welcome. Thank you for what? And I sit down. Sure. I want to thank you for helping me become a better version of myself and helping you become a better version of yourself. She's looking at me like, Sean, are you okay? I'm perfectly fine. She said, you really should be getting back to work. I said, yes, again, I want to thank you. And I said, I'll be happy to finish up my day. She said, oh, okay. Well, have a good Thanksgiving. I said, maybe you don't understand. I said, thank you. We had a great run and we're done. Today is my last day with your organization. She fell off the chair. She's like, well, you're going to leave all that vested money on the table. I said, that might motivate some people, but you guys have taught me that it's time to move on. And this was a part of my life. It was a chapter. It's now closing. And it's opening for something else. So I could become a better version of myself. You guys can become better versions of yourself. And the money I made here, I'll make 100 times more than that in doing something I'm passionate about for people I know, like, and trust. I leave her office. I go to a lady. She says, John, we need help. I understand. So I asked her to help her with something with her database. She said, you better hurry up. You only have 30 minutes. She said, well, if you don't finish, you got to come back here on Monday. So I don't know if I'm coming Monday. Well, what day are you coming in? And she goes, no, I kept saying this day, that day. Well, when are you finally coming in? Friday? Like, what day do you work? You work all weird hours. I said, well, to be honest with you, I'm not coming back anymore. Oh, hon, come here. What's the matter? She said, I knew they were going to do it to you. You're such a good guy. What? They fired you, didn't they? Fired me? No, I quit. Oh, and then she changed her, like, smug, like, well, I'm sure we'll find someone more qualified than you. Mm-hmm. And I realized that sometimes things happen in our life for that purpose, for that reason. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you have to be humble in life. And you have to understand that your purpose, now I'm very religious, so one thing I always do, but you don't have to be religious, I give gratitude every morning and every night. When I hit the bed at night and when I get up in the morning, I give gratitude. You're saying to me, John, I don't know what to be grateful for. Well, how about you being alive? And if you still can't figure it out, go through the alphabet and name 3 things starting with every letter that you're grateful for. But don't just think about them. I want you to feel them in your heart. And when you do that, more things, I promise, will show up in your life that you can become grateful for.
I'm grateful right now just for having this conversation. Let's start there. I mean, and frankly, you hit almost every single thing that everybody that's watching or listening right now should contemplate, listen carefully, deep understand, absorb. I mean, really sink it in. It's really, this is like a medication. This is like this is the spa for your body, mind, and spirit. The whole works, right? If you really want to succeed in life, I mean, this is actually success. At its best, that it comes, it can literally manifest. You said the word manifest earlier. You're right. First of all, the motivation, and these people took advantage of you, and it happens all the time. And we all go through this motion. And again, we are conditioned to sometimes working in conditions that we may not like, but because of a paycheck, because of whatever, and we just, we endure those things, and we don't. That's not your true talent. And in your case, and by the way, a lot of folks, listening, probably are thinking like, maybe my life sucks. Maybe I'm not happy. I don't wake up in the morning really excited about what I'm doing. You just hit it right there. You get up, you need to be passionate about everything that you do. and you have to enjoy every single minute of it, and you have to get the rewards of it, and you will get the rewards. You said it, connecting the mind and the heart. I love the concept earlier when you visualize that Acura, the car. I mean, that's power.
I felt it too.
You felt it. I mean, you get the vroom, you get the whole thing. I mean, there you go. So and that's actually sometimes where people are failing, is they have a goal, they have a dream, but they don't connect to that dream. I see it, I believe in it, I feel it, I enjoy it before I have it. I had this little poster that I had in my office one time, and he had a fake, a picture of a Benz, with pencils and a Rolex. And those are the targets. So you put the target, and then you have to manifest those to become reality, and you have a real one, an actual Benz. And no bragging, I mean, I did get those things eventually in life, but the idea is you have to work towards it. But you know what? It might not be the job. It might be the business. You have to have
exactly. It's going to be different for everybody. And you hit a very strong nail on the head. Like I said, when you're getting up in the morning, like you had talked what I was talking about. But you know where other people fail? They get up in the morning. This happens to some people. They may not admit it. And they get up in the morning and they bump their toe. They stub it. They hit their arm, their elbow. They knock something off their dresser, right? They say some 4-letter words. And then they go maybe they go to take a shower, and they burn their arm because the water's too hot. They say some more 3 or 4-letter words. They go in the kitchen. They get juice, but of course they pour the juice and the juice goes all over the counter and you break the glass. Now, for the real piece, you go and have your cereal, you pour the milk. Well, the milk does go in the bowl, but 80% of it goes into your shirt and onto your pants. Now you got to change. Now you're going to be late. Now that you're going to be late, there's traffic. Not only is there traffic, you have a premium client, a piece of resistance client that you need to really impress. You're 15 minutes late for that meeting. They welcome you very nicely. And 10 or 15 minutes, they say, you know what, Bob, well, we're so glad that you made it to today's meeting. And frankly, we're all ready to go with you. Well, that's great. We were all ready to go with you. And frankly, if you can't run and manage your own life, how are you ever going to manage our campaign? We're very sorry, but we're going to have to give it to another firm. Oh. And you just spiraled your whole day down. So you've ever gone over a bump? I'm sure we have, whether it's in the Rockies or wherever. Do you remember that bump you went over 5 years ago? No. Do you remember how long it was? What it felt? Not really. It was a bump. It was there. It was gone. So we need to take these things like you're knocking something over or something bad happens that you don't want to happen. It happened. Move on. The rest of my day is going to be great. Don't let these things spiral you down. I had a lady who was watching one of my shows, IFY, All Inspirations for Your Life. And she says, John, she says, this is all great talk, but you have to understand it doesn't work for me. I said, well, why not? I said, I don't want to put you on the spot. She says, no, it's okay. I'm happy to talk to you on the air. I said, well, what is it? She says, well, I'm in my second marriage. And I said, okay. And she says, not only that, I'm on different support, and now I'm getting another letter because of my debts, and it's just a problem. And I work 3 jobs. And I said, what do you mean it won't work for you? She said, it won't work for me. It's nice for some people, and I think what you're doing is good, but you don't know my situation. I said, well, I don't have to know your situation. I want you to do an exercise for me for 7 days. I said, it's not going to cost you anything. I'm really busy. I said, so are you busy, or are you just too busy to make your life better? Because busy just means that you haven't made a priority. Are you happy where your life is right now? No, John, of course not. But I'm too busy to change. No. You're not too busy to change. You haven't decided in your mind to make it a priority to change your life. How much is it going to cost me? It's going to cost you anything. I'm going to help you for 7 days. I want you to be grateful for things in your life for 7 days. Oh, John, that's a lot of work. I want you to spend 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. Can you do that? I'll try. So she starts. She does the first day. She says, John, it's not working. So what'd you do? So the guy did it 2 minutes. I said, he didn't do 5 minutes. So then she's back, all right, I'll do it tomorrow. She does it again. She says, so I said, I told you, you got to keep doing it. So he did it for 3 or 4 more days. We're not quite a week yet. Then she gets to the 6th day and she calls you back. She's like, John, she says, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, what happened? She says, I quit my job. I said, oh, I'm sorry. She said, no, don't be. I said, what do you mean? I quit all my jobs. I said, what happened? She said, well, I actually got another offer that pays me 3 times what I'm making at all 3 jobs at one 9-to-5 job. I said, well, that's fantastic. She says, not only that, my grandson, who lives in Arizona, his parents are actually moving back to my state. So I'm going to get to see him and the other grandson every single week. I said, that sounds like a Christmas present. She's like, it's amazing. I said, anything else? She said, yes. She says, the letter, I kept getting letters from the companies of how I was in debt. Well, this month, I actually got a letter on the 7th day. I said, what did it say? She says, well, it said that the home I'm in, because of my situation, they're actually going to lower my my rent. I said, well, that's great. She said, I only have to pay $100 a month. She says, I was paying $1,800. I said, why are you only paying $100? She says, I don't know. The landlord just says that they want to help me because of my situation. I said, now do you see how being grateful? She says, wow. She says, this stuff kind of works. She says, I didn't believe you. I said, I didn't get paid 1 cent to say this to you. She says, no, you didn't. And you didn't pay me anything for any of this. You just followed my advice. She says, yes, I did. She says, this works. But people are too pig-headed in their mind to let it infiltrate them.
Mind is everything. Everything happens in the mind. You believe it, you manifest it, you act on it, you achieve it. I think,
but you have to connect your mind to your heart. The reason people don't manifest is because they only think in their mind. See, the language of the universe is not mind. The language of the universe, the mind can't feel, the heart can. So when you start expressing things in feelings, that's what the universe relates to.
I couldn't disagree on that at all. I mean, to your point, it is. I mean, when I mentioned the mind, I'm talking about first the concept of seeing, yes, believing. But then you're right. You have to manifest it. If you don't, you got to feel everything. I mean, I enjoy what I do. You enjoy what you do, right? You get passionate.
Absolutely.
About it. You're into this. I mean, I'm really excited about it. And that's the thing.
We're pumped.
We're pumped.
Some people think we're on something. I said, I'm not on anything. I'm on positivity. Is you sure you're not on something?
I have this saying, you got to be so positive that you're so contagious that people actually are sick from positivity. But you know what? That's what it is. You got to be so positive. Positivity is a pill. It's a medicine. It's a fuel, and it's energy.
It's a fuel, right? It's a fuel. Motivation is that stuff, okay, that you can't buy, you can't download. You can't pick it up in the air itself. Motivation is the stuff that makes you drive to aspire to your goal. Now, people say to me, John, when you think or you feel it, does it just happen? No. See, it's not a magic voodoo and we wave a wand. That's not how this works. This isn't Magic 101. We don't do magic here. What happens is you cause this chemical reaction to happen, an electrical reaction, without getting into all the details, because of synapses. And when they get to the end of synapses, we can't use electrical. We have to use chemical to transfer from one to the other. When that gets excited, it becomes a lot more contagious to be able to carry the message, because it carries the message from the receptors, then out, then to the chemical, then transmits it, then back to the electrical and back. So when all this happens, it causes your body to go into the state. And what happens with that is you become amazingly creative. And you get, yes, thoughts to take inspired action on. Don't lay on a couch all day and say, oh, John, I'm just going to lay on my couch and I'm going to manifest. Don't bother me. I'm in my manifesting room. Leave me here for 7 weeks. I'm going to manifest. Just don't bother me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to manifest everything right here. No. You need to realize that your manifest engine, I should say, works on your RAS. What the heck is a RAS? Okay. Reticular activating system. If I was to ask you right now, okay, and I'll ask you, HH, what color car do you drive?
Black and white.
Okay. So right now, I bet you'd agree with me that there's a lot of black and white cars on the road.
Oh, I see them all the time. Yeah.
You'll see them all the time. Yeah. Now, I drive a white car. I'll tell you, there's a lot of white cars on the road. I don't see a lot of black and white cars. Well, wait a minute. Let's say we're in the same town. I ask somebody else and they see only red cars. Well, I don't see that many red cars. Why is that? I'll tell you why. So your reticular activating system focuses on what you put your attention on. Okay. So your energy, so your thoughts are going to, your energy is going to flow where your thoughts go. And so when we're thinking about that, we're causing that to be top of mind. So when we're thinking about these things, we're feeling about them, it's causing our receptors, our eyes, our senses to be alert of those opportunities that maybe we weren't able to see before. That's what the magic is. Now people say to me, John, can I make the RAS like really successful? Yes, you can, but it takes time. The RAS was not designed to make you successful. I'm sorry, guys. It wasn't put there for that reason. It was put there to keep you alive and make a fight or flight mechanism. So if you push the envelope a little bit further, don't push it off the cliff, and you're okay, and it's a little uncomfortable, good. Be safe, come back, do it again, push a little further. Your RAS will be like, hey, you know, this stuff isn't so bad. I'm not really feeling so bad doing this, and this is kind of good. I guess we can do this. And your RAS will get accustomed to now working on the edge as opposed to just working in that safety zone.
Comfort zone, right?
Yes.
The downfall of people is the comfort zone. And it's funny, I had this discussion just this morning about the same topic. It's amazing. It's first of all, you're right. This stuff is contagious. Positivity is the key. The more you think about things, the more you feel them, the more you enjoy them, the more you get passionate about them, the more they happen. And you make them happen. You got to take risks. You got to be out there. You have to challenge yourself. And it's never going to be easy, but you got to make the way to happen. You got to have the different pieces in place. If they're not all there, you're going to put them in there. You're going to find a way. You mentioned something earlier about karma, about the universe putting things your way.
Yes.
Things are going to get in your way, good and bad. And for good reasons, as long as you see them in such a way, because sometimes we see it's in front of you, but you don't get the value of it because you're not paying attention to it. It's happening.
That's the point. And people get mad because they're not seeing what they want to see. And the reason they get mad is like, oh my gosh, I'm out of time. You're not out of any time. So something called divine time. That's the time it's meant to happen. So enjoy what's happening, live in the moment, live in the present, and enjoy everything that happens. And even if you get a challenge in your life, I'm grateful for that challenge. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you just a quick story. I was an intermediate skier. And many years ago, about over 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer, I went to a mountain, and I'd been going to this mountain for a very long time. I'd go every weekend. And this one day it was very icy. So I decided, instead of going on the bottom of the mountain, to go to the intermediate mountain and to go a little higher because it would be less ice. Smart idea. This mountain should have been closed because it was very bad conditions. The grandfather gave the resort away to their grandkids instead of just selling them the money. They didn't know how to manage money. They didn't know how to manage a resort. They didn't know anything about skiing. And they took a positive 5-star to a negative 5-star in less than a year. So they wanted to open because they're running out of money. So I get to the top of the mountain. And all good to go down the hill, make a couple paths back and forth. On the third or fourth, I went to go to the right and I went to pivot back. My left ski locked. I broke my tib and fib. When that happened, I blocked out all the pain in that leg. When I got to the hospital, they thought I was on drugs. I said, if one more person asks me I'm on drugs, so help me, I'm going to bring a lawsuit against you guys. I'm not on drugs. They tried to drug me. And because of the power of my mind, I said, don't you dare give me another dose of anything. I know what you people are up to. She said, you should be out of it. I said, my mind is a lot stronger than you think. And I blocked the medicine they were giving me. So why I say this to you is, you might look at that as a problem, right? That I broke my tib and fib. I'm going to tell you something. If I didn't do that 6 years ago, I wouldn't be a serial entrepreneur today. Because that taught me that I need to do what's best for John. And I need to realize that some people aren't going to do the right things for me. And I got out of environments that were very comfortable for me. And I moved into environments that were not as comfortable. And when that happened, I changed as a person. My opportunities changed. My access to things changed. And so it's like the story you probably heard about the horse. Well, you know what happened? Oh, it's a shame that you broke your leg. Well, no, that was a good thing. But why is it a good thing? Well, because see, the militia was in town, and because they were in town, they didn't recruit my son. Oh, well, that's great. Actually, no, it's not. Why isn't it good? Good. Well, because they were also giving out scholarship. So the whole point is the story goes on and on and on and on. So when you have something that happens to you that's challenging, embrace it, because there's a lesson in there. I needed to learn that lesson, and I needed to learn another lesson. Somebody who I believed was my friend for years, I believed was there for me when I needed them. And I said, hey, I'm on my way to the hospital. Just want to talk. Hey, John, we're at that restaurant, Outback, where they have the food and all the big burgers and everything and the steaks. Like, yeah, well, we just order our food. I don't mean to be rude, but it's just being served now. We don't want it to get cold. So I hope you don't mind if we talk to you another time. No, no problem. Just being rushed to the hospital. Oh, okay. I'm sure they'll take great care of you. Now, that sounds a little weird, but you don't know people's true colors until you hit a situation. So when you get a situation that may not be what you enjoy, embrace it for the moment and learn the lesson from it.
Well, John, there's lessons learned today. I mean, this is like a whole encyclopedia of knowledge that we just picked up question in about an hour. I mean, I do want to extend this if I could, but I know time is valuable and we're running out of it.
Yeah.
But listen, I am so excited today. I mean, the fact that we had you on the show and we've gotten all this knowledge from you, it's just tremendous. Maybe we'll do this again because
this was a good download. I enjoyed this,
dude. I usually talk a lot. I didn't actually. I was literally like just listening.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Hurricane, you were quiet. Well, in your presence, I had to. I mean, I had to take all that. Sometimes
is that good or is that bad?
Oh, that's great, dude. I needed the energy. Like sometimes you always talk motivation, and sometimes you need it too. So I took this from you today. So I got my own dose today.
I am so glad because, like I said, when I can help people and I can help them grow their lives, that just really charges me.
And exactly. I mean, listen, what you do is great, and it's you've experienced it yourself in your own life and your own success, and you share with people. And I think that's gratitude in itself. I mean, you're grateful for everything that you have and that you've achieved, and you're sharing.
I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful being here to share this podcast with you.
And we're grateful to have you. I am certainly, and I'm sure people listening and watching right now, they'll be like, yes, this was the best thing that I've heard today, and maybe in my life. You never know, because some people may need one of these, sessions to just kind of wake up.
But remember something, ladies and gentlemen. People say that you can take a horse and you can lead it to water and you can't make it drink. However, you can put salt in the water and the horse will drink. But seriously, if we lead you to the water, you have to make the choice to drink it. You have to make the choice to drink the Kool-Aid, to realize, like we both do every day, I always can get better. I'm never going to stop getting better. And all of you need to do the same thing, because we all want to become better versions of ourselves. You know why? We'll be able to do so many other things, and we'll be able to help other people do other things.
Yes. True leadership.
And it's infectious.
Yes. Well, again, I mean, listen, I can't even follow you with your wisdom here because you covered it all. And I leave it at that. I mean, folks, you're listening from the best here. And really, that's exactly right. Be grateful, do the right thing, feel it, enjoy it. Every day is a new day. Make it work. There's plenty, out there for everyone. And every lesson in life is a positive thing, not a negative thing. If we turn everything.
Amen.
That's it. That's how, like you said, you broke, something, you took that as a good thing, and you learn things along the way that change your life.
And the best thing of that whole break of the leg thing, they wanted to put me into surgery. Through the power of God and through my prayer and through different things I did, I didn't do surgery.
Amazing.
I healed all by myself, even though they were coercing me to go into surgery. I had an attorney write a cease and desist informally and told them that if they weren't going to leave me alone, that they would be waking Judge the Jocham up and he'd be arresting all of them to go to jail. And it was amazing how everyone was so nice after that. And the entire staff was before my bed, before the surgery, 2 hours, like I requested. And they said, what can we do for you? I said, well, I don't think I want surgery. Well, you really don't need surgery. We just want to help you heal faster. I said, baloney. You're just looking to take a down payment on the new Alfa Romeo that you want to get. And they laughed, but it was the truth. And I think if people embrace that, it's going to change. The only thing I can tell you to do is become a student of meditation. Because when you meditate, you get rid of those monkeys that are somewhere in your mind, and you allow that creative juice to just kind of flow through you.
Well, John, you remember you said something earlier about, you've learned hypnosis and hypnotherapy yourself. And I know you've applied, when you mentioned the concept of RAS, and I know that's a big deal with hypnotherapy and psychotherapy. So you have that, you've already trained your mind to do this. And it's funny because people don't realize we are powerful enough to do that. But once we learn the little exercise we did about the finger and think that
Yes.
stuff works. As a matter of
does.
fact, people are watching and listening, do the exercise, you will do it, you will feel it, and you will see the results, guaranteed. You
But not overnight, guys. It's going to take you a little bit of time.
Well, nothing beautiful and great happens overnight. We have to establish that rule before people say, like, oh, they fake, it didn't work. It will work. The lady took 7 days.
It took 7 days, right? She got her whole victory. But what I tell you to do is, people get discouraged. Celebrate those small victories in your life. You might not think they're victories, but celebrate those small milestones. It will propel you to the 18th hole.
Yes. And every small win is a win. That's the thing. And it's a step. I mean, you got to start somewhere. We walk a distance, but you got to start with the first step. One step closer to the finish line. And that's exactly what's happening.
If people think tonight that they have failed, I want to leave them with this message. You guys have not failed unless you've quit. So unless you've made that conscious decision to say, I quit, you haven't failed. You've mislabeled that. Einstein didn't find one way for the light bulb to work. He found 999 ways that it did not work.
I'm leaving it with that. That's it. I'm not touching that one. John, it's been real. All the respect, all the love, all the gratitude to you, man. I mean, you're really
right back at you, HH.
I am just out of words here, and I want, just for the audiences, I want them to guide them to your show. So if you don't mind,
sure.
Tell us
so
about
the way you can learn about me pretty easily, if you guys can see my QR code, you may or may not be able to scan that. But if you can't, you can go to Believe Me Achieve. That's http://achieve. Okay. So Believe, BELIEVE, me, achieve, ACHIEVE.com. That'll lead you to hundreds of hours of video that I produce on a science show, a motivational show, and my tech talk show, and my unboxing show, and my review show. So I have lots of great stuff. But the two shows, the tech show every week and the IFYL show, which is every day or evening, it doesn't have an exact time. We're just hoping to help make this place a better for everyone else.
And John, I am so grateful and thankful for you being on my show. So that's a great honor and privilege. So I'll take it with every single potential credit there. And thank you so much for that. I'm so happy, and I'm glad.
I want to end by giving you a round of applause for having me on your show.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. That you're just being modest, but I appreciate it. I'll take it. But folks, thank you. This been real. This is great advice, great stuff. And please, and by the way, I will have the link to your, website so people can actually link directly to you.
BelieveMeAchieve.com.
Yep. So I'll have all that there. And, thank you so much for the time. I mean, I know you do this and you enjoy it, and we've enjoyed every single, and maybe we'll do a follow-up.
That'd be awesome. I would be honored.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, folks, thank you for being with us, and I hope you enjoyed this journey, and it's a great hour. This is a powerful hour. So take it for what it's worth, and take every minute of it and enjoy it and practice it. That being said, I'm your host, Hurricane H. Thank you for being with us. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new guest. Bye for now.
Thank you. you.